Boom. And we're live. Hello. Welcome to the Children of the Beast episode number 2. Live from the lair of the beast. I feel like we need a cool name for this. I'm Andrew. I'm here with my big brother, Carlos, the wolf child. I think it's so funny. And I think the first thing we have to talk about today are those fights, right? We're talking about UFC 251 on Fight Island, also known as Abu Dhabi, also known as Yas Island. In the main event, we had Kamaru Usman taking a unanimous decision over Street Jesus Jorge Masvidal. We had a lot of good things to say about Masvidal last time, and I think those are all true, but I think we just have to give a lot of credit to Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, the guy, I think it's obvious by the fact that he's a champion that he has the best wrestling in that division. He's a very good fighter. And I think that if he does have any injuries or any deficiencies because of wear and tear, he's very good at
masking them.
Implementing game plans and training modalities that keep him healthy. Yeah. You know, because I have heard him on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about having really weak knees in terms of he aches doing some simple things and all that. So it's remarkable, man. Now, that being said, I am not dying to watch his next fight. I find him to be...
He's dominant. What do you mean?
No, he is dominant, dude. But I've never been to a wrestling tournament.
Sure.
You know, I know there's people that want to do it and everything, but it became a really, really boring fight. I thought I appreciate the effectiveness of everything he does.
Sure. It's unquestionable, right? It's undeniable.
You know, it's just, especially coming off of the beginning of the card. I mean, I thought it was his new shirt.
A little bit of I get that. A little bit underwhelming considering how great the card was. So I pulled a classic Carlos move. I fell asleep.
Oh, you did?
I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep in between the Volkanovski Holloway fight and then the main event of Usman and Masvidal. So I woke up this morning and I rewatched it, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, right? Kamaru Usman is just so dominant that. And right, there's something to be said. Jorge didn't have his head coach. He tested positive for corona, so he wasn't in his corner. He was fighting on 6-day notice, right? And you could very see the gas tank, so there was a big difference where Usman just looked so fresh the entire fight.
I agree. I wonder with a proper camp how his ability to avoid the takedown would have played out.
Sure. And right now the question is what's next for Usman? Do we go Gilbert Burns? Leon Edwards is right there.
See, for me, it's I think he can do this to Leon, wrestling-wise.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know that he can do that to Gilbert. I think Gilbert's got that freak strength.
Sure.
So I don't know that you're going to be able to ragdoll your way into those positions and those grabbings and those leverage points that lead to nowhere but a unanimous decision. I just don't...
And it very much seems, right, that Gilbert Burns is going to have to fight someone else before he gets this title shot.
Well, maybe. I
guess Usman didn't take that much damage,
here's
right?
The thing. That's one thing that Kamaru can do to become more relevant in a higher price commodity.
Sure.
Give him some frequency. Keep your face out there.
Yeah.
Become a dominant champion.
Did you know the reason why he never fought on pay-per-view for the early part of his career? I was just recently informed of this.
No, I didn't.
So, are you aware that his father has been in prison for some sort of white-collar crime? I think it was some sort of medical fraud, actually, because I believe it was a doctor. Usman specifically requested to the UFC not to put him on pay-per-view until he was fighting for the championship belt, because when you're in prison, prisons don't get pay-per-views, but they get cable television. So if he's fighting on Fox Sports or ESPN, his dad can watch. So I think, I'll go as far as to say, Kamaru Usman is a role model.
Who's his manager?
His manager is, I don't know. Is he one of the Kala brothers? Is he with Dominance MMA, with Ali?
I don't know. I have no reason to doubt the man. I just doubt every man.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair.
Good story. So great.
His dad was in jail.
Great if it's true, good if it isn't.
It makes sense to be true though, right? His dad is in jail. Jails don't get pay-per-view, but they get cable television.
I don't think it makes sense I don't, because this is the same guy who told Rogan that he can't run on concrete because his knees hurt so much. So why wouldn't you maximize your window and accelerate your access to the window of opportunity of the extra revenue, the real extra revenue?
I guess the desire to watch and let his dad watch was more important than the... Because if you already know you're going to get the belt one day, right? If you have it in your head, I'm going to get the belt one day, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get my paycheck.
Have it in their head until they have it around their waist.
I mean, there's something to be said for the commitment of going all in and having that mentality and not worrying about it.
Yeah, I suppose. If it works out after he retires, and if he's not like begging for crumbs here and there.
I don't think so. I feel like Kamaru Usman is a very intelligent person.
Yeah, a lot of them are very intelligent, but they end up without enough
fighters.
money.
I wouldn't say that about a lot of fighters.
I mean,
I would say on average, Kamaru Usman is much more intelligent than the average fighter.
yeah, I mean,
He has a college degree. He has a college degree for engineering.
He's a smart dude. He's a very smart dude. Yeah. I just don't buy necessarily that. I'm skeptical of anybody who says that they chose to put off the pay-per-view portion of their career in the fight game.
Well, hold on, time out though. Right, even if you're not, like, if you're a non-champion UFC headliner, are you getting pay-per-view points?
No.
Okay, so then what's the added bonus of getting on pay-per-view versus TV? The exposure then? Because you're not making more money if you're under the same contract, right?
I mean, if you look at it as a job, just climbing the corporate ladder.
Unless you have a different opinion of it, right? Which he apparently does with the data in jail.
It's possible. Right? I mean, it's possible, but we'll see. I mean, I'm wondering how they did. I think a lot of people bought this fight.
You would have to assume, yeah. I'm curious.
A lot of people bought this motherfucker. The rest of the card was better than the main event.
I would agree with that. The rest of the card was fire, and let's move on. Yeah, it is, because it feels underwhelming, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the Paige Van Zandt fight kind of went how a lot of people thought it would go.
Well, here, let's go down to the co-main event. We'll
You want to go backwards?
Let's go backwards, because we already started with the main event.
Well, Max got robbed.
I don't think it was a robbery, but I definitely had him.
It's a robbery to call it unanimous.
Oh, was it unanimous?
It was unanimous.
Oh, that is a little bit ridiculous. Does that seem?
I don't know. I gotta look it up. But I think it was unanimous. Either way, I saw Max Holloway won rounds 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Volkanovski turned on later.
So I don't know. And I also think that,
Volka's playing it smart. Volkanovski's playing it smart by saying, the chapter's done with Max. Yeah, I think that's really smart of him to do, right? Be a little bit antagonistic about it. You're already up 2-0.
Yeah,
good for you.
That's good for you. It's the right move. Yeah. It's the right business move. It's the right competitors,
right? So, and it's exciting for a bit of a reset at the featherweight division in that regard, right? We're gonna have Max Holloway fighting all these contenders if he chooses to do so.
It's not like Max got mauled or anything. No, that was
they're both very competitive fights.
Very good fight, man. And then there's the one that broke my heart, which was the middle fight.
Well, so the Jose Aldo versus Petr Yan for the UFC bantamweight belt, and we have new Petr Yan.
Listen, I'm on the Yan train.
How can you not be? How can you not be? He just
listen. I cannot believe Aldo was clearly winning the first
so strong. He came out so good.
I was so happy seeing him throw leg kicks again. It's been like 6 years. That's
the mark. The mark on Petr Yan's body. It was incredible.
All I wanted him to do. All I wanted when McGregor fought Aldo was to see McGregor take one of Aldo's kicks to the lead leg that he likes to stick out there. That's all I wanted Aldo to do, and never got that satisfaction. Now, I'm not saying McGregor may have not been able to withstand it and still beat him. I'm just saying, to me, that was the obvious thing because of McGregor's stance, right? And then after that, Aldo fought again and again and again, and I just haven't seen him leg kick. Last night, he destroyed that cat. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. He appeared to be destructive.
He was taking it really hard.
He appeared to be destructive. He appeared to be accurate. He hit Yan in the body with liver shots, boots, crosses, fucking outside leg kicks to the calf, to the goddamn thigh. And then, after the third round, all of a sudden Yan was like, all right, it's time to teach somebody to listen. And I don't know what the fuck they gave him in the corner, dude. But he came out like nothing had happened for 3 rounds.
You know how Michael Jordan had his in Space Jam, was it the secret sauce or his secret juice? Whatever it was, he had Vladimir Putin's.
Wow. I mean, all of a sudden it was like he had not taken any punishment. He seemed like not unaffected by the last 3 rounds, which I don't understand because I watched Aldo connect with all the weapons except for elbows. No, even elbows. Yeah. At some point, even Aldo threw a spin elbow off of the back of like a clench break, and because there's no audience, it sounded horrifying. And this kid is he just came out, and I mean, they say that I feel it's the first time I stopped enjoying a fight to the point that I had anxiety about them not stopping it.
Sure.
And then he makes it out of the 4th round. He should have never made it out of the 4th. I mean, the canvas under his face was like an abstract painting of a splash of blood.
Dominic Cruz wishes he had that ref. Dominic Cruz wishes he had that ref.
Nobody wants that smoke.
And like, right, it just speaks to the problem of how, right, there's just no standardization across the sport.
Yeah.
In judging and reffing. And like, how can there be really? I mean, it seems that's always going to be subjective.
Exactly. And you know what's a good point? And I don't know what that would look like, but why isn't there somebody from the athletic commission who counts punches for each fighter? That's all I want. How much does that cost? They're making fucking $70.
Because I mean, right, the broadcast does that. And
but that's not a regulatory body, though, right?
Sure.
And this is my point. I was thinking of regulation. If we know that the gloves that we use are largely ceremonial, they're 4-ounce gloves, and we've heard complaints from all kinds of fighters about how the inconsistency in the manufacturing of the gloves and all this. So let's just call them a fucking bandage, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Defending myself. I understand that if my hands are down and I'm getting punched in the face, I'm not defending myself.
Yeah.
But if I'm turtled down with this maxi pad glove on the side of my head and I'm getting pounded for 2 minutes, how about we come up with a number of punches on that position? Because you know what? Just because his hand was covering his ear,
right,
the amount of concussive blows that he took in the last 2 minutes of round 4 were fucking excessive as far as I'm concerned. And I love Aldo, but I don't ever want to see anybody take that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Blood, and you can't see his face because he's covering up so well, right?
Yeah.
And he's so strong and so tough, he'll never tap.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Who the fuck's looking out for that guy? For him to make it? I mean, I don't know.
That would make sense to have almost like a ref outside of the ring or outside of the octagon, and like have access to the monitors and to the broadcasters, right? That's a completely different angle than the referees. And I guess I don't know how that would work. Some sort of interplay between them. I'm sure, but yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense. And right, I feel like a lot of sports have made that evolution of, right, NFL has refs in the broadcast system.
The UFC used to employ persons to do like the strike count and all that. They used to use coaching strike. In fact, I know coaches around town who were recruited to do boxing and UFC events for CompuStrike.
No, that's cool.
I mean, and again, it's not like the solutions are simple, but they gotta get fucking started looking.
Yeah.
Some of this, that shit wasn't necessary. That guy's a legend. And he was not going to win that fight coming into the 5th round. I mean, to be honest, upon rewatch, it almost looked like he gave up.
Interesting.
He came out on the 5th round, and they did a high five, right? And then it didn't last more than a minute.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So that's, you know.
Well, and it just speaks to, right, the new hotness, the youngness, just coming in and taking down the old line. It doesn't matter what sport it is. It just doesn't seem to matter which sport.
That's exactly what I told my kids, man. Yeah. That's what happens, you know, like the young guy always eventually. But it was remarkable because going out of that 3rd round, I was like, Aldo's fucking back. He looks so good. But once he took a cut, there was a couple of shots that he took. I believe there was an uppercut that he took that was really vicious, and he was just not the same after that.
No, and like, right, UFC, please book Aljamain Sterling to fight for this belt.
Oh, it's a great fight.
Please.
Yeah.
I want that fight. The wrestling, though. Yeah.
And after seeing Yan do that to Aldo, I say this. I say Henry is even smarter now for having quit, because I think Yan will pizzazz bad, man.
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, I don't think anybody wants that smoke except for Aljo.
Yeah, dude, it's.
Who just Jan's going to be that smoke? He may just be the only next possible option and obvious, you know. But damn, dude, it was tremendous.
Petr Yan's going to be a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All the fury of Russia, all of that Russian fury.
and that's the other thing too, is that there is, from a shrewd business perspective, there's a huge benefit in a company like the UFC dealing with a European or out of the country champion than an American, because they don't have an American entitlement. Well, they don't want to be Ali in the same way. They're happy to be out of fill in the blank country.
That's a great point.
$10
Yeah, that's a great point.
And
I wasn't even thinking of that.
Being fucking, the UFC makes sure you become a champion in your country, which opens up a bunch of opportunities that the UFC doesn't have to pay for. Your country pays for that shit. Your country's brands and your country's all of that shit.
Well, and like, right, not only that, like, right, it opens, right, with Wei Li Zhang in China, it opens the Chinese market for UFC MMA, right? Because there's a lot of MMA going on around the world,
as opposed to some of this stuff. And I mean, Well, I know we're gonna get to Paige, but I heard Dana getting interviewed about Paige, and he said she should definitely explore the open market. But here's the thing, and he did say this. He goes, "Look, you have some of these people that are not really marquee fighters just yet, and they have complaints, and they're talking to the media about this and that. So what do I think? After you come in and you get submitted with an armbar right away, then you should explore the open market."
It's such a dick.
Because, well, no. I mean, listen. The conversation that sometimes these guys have with the media is a conversation you have with your friends, because it's not beneficial for you ever to have your opposition know how you feel.
Sure, I would agree with that.
Especially if they're in a position of power and advantage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right, like, Masvidal played it perfectly in terms of contracting.
He ever fucking helped anybody negotiate a business deal?
I don't think so, but I think it expresses frustration to almost. Right, I think the goal is that if enough fighters are expressing frustration, maybe one day they can form some sort of fighters union.
Yes, but maybe also when a fighter actually, I just think they have to be people have to be honest about recognizing if you're that type of person or not. Because Conor did it, right? That's how Conor spoke. Right. But here's the problem. Conor delivered.
Well, and like, right, hold on, time out, because like, let's talk about the fighters union that happened, what, like 5 years ago with Donald Cerrone, there was, I think, Rory McDonald at the time. They all got paid and that went away. There was like 3 other fighters that went in. They were all marquee UFC fighters, and they went in and, I mean, Dana White shut that shit down. So there is precedence. If you have enough names and you have enough people, maybe the UFC is willing to work with you just to shut you up.
Yeah.
Which of course they are. I mean, you're not in the business of allowing a fighters union.
You gotta win.
Yeah, 110%. Surprise fight at the end of the day.
She had come out and head kicked that poor girl in the head.
PVZ? Paige?
Yeah. Then we'll be having a different conversation about how now she can, you know what I'm saying?
Totally, she would have leverage.
No, I don't doubt they keep her, but I'm saying from a business perspective, there is no reason you have to offer her any more money than she was making.
I wouldn't be surprised if she gets signed by Invicta or something.
I'm thinking one.
Yeah, one probably has more capital.
Because I think her man fights for Bellator. And she's fucking moving to Singapore.
Yeah, and if she's in Bellator, right, there, in theory, more opportunity for her.
A little bit. Still, you're still reaching a wide audience.
Yeah, totally.
You know? So I guess we skipped the one fight that was probably one of the better fights. And that was...
I thought this could easily be fight of the night.
Sorry, bro. I think it was. I think it was a little more even.
Can we give these women credit? Because, right, these are two former champions. Or this was a number 1 contender fight. You know what's the second fight of the card?
I honestly thought in my head watching this fight last night was the first time I completely lost the perspective of female and male fighters, and I was just watching a fight.
Sure. Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Rose is
a ninja.
Another fucking level, man. My wife was mentioning about Amanda's head movement, right?
Jessica's. But she came out hard, yeah.
But here's the difference, and I get it. She's been working on it. They told her to work on it.
It's like a little box
section. Watch her feet. Her feet hardly move.
Sure. Well, and
so eventually, she's gonna get figured out by Rose. Now, you look at Rose. Rose's head also moves a lot, but why? Because her feet are fucking moving. Rose is giving you that in and out dance, that switcheroo. She's giving you all those different looks that just slightly move her offline. And at the end of the whole thing, the one that was more tired was Andrade.
Of course. I mean, she's just moving a lot more, right?
Exactly. And it took a lot more punishments because eventually you're going to forget to move one. Exactly.
You get tired.
Rose looks so springy and her punches are crisp and straight down the fucking pipe. Like it was a good.
Well, so do you know what she reminded me of? The way she was moving and her head movement, what a style bender.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought a little bit like Dominic too, except that she doesn't switch so much. She doesn't really attack off the switch stance.
Dominic keeps hands a lot lower. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
So
she's tall.
I mean, she's so like her. She was upright. She looked good. She was using her range. I mean, right, midway through the second round, she like entered some sort of state where she was just slipping everything and then just cracking her with each counter. It was incredible to watch. Like she entered a different mode, and her versus Wei Ling Jane for the championship belt is going to be incredible.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
incredible. And I gotta give the edge to Rose right now.
Not only that, but she's also overcome all her anxiety and stuff. I think it's a big deal for her with everything that she's been super open about talking that she struggled with. It's gonna be great. She went to another country in the middle of the fucking pandemic.
Her second time only ever fighting in a different country, and the last time was in Brazil when she lost the belt to Jessica.
It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
It was a good thing to
totally
watch, you know. So yeah, man,
That was such a good fight. That was such a good fight.
Yeah, I only would have wished that the main event was better, but hey, man, honestly, 4 out of the 5 fucking.
Well, and then here, let's come on, because I want to talk about.
Result.
We have to put some respect on the name of Amanda Hebus. Because what she did to Paige Van Zandt, her slickness on the ground. I was watching it with our brother Ricky, and what stood out to me, right? Like, they were on the ground. Paige Van Zandt was trying to roll her over to take her back, and during that scramble, that's when Amanda Hebus struck.
Yeah,
doing that belly down armbar. It was just so good.
Yeah,
it was so good. First round submission in like 2 minutes.
And then I read this morning that Paige is talking about her arm again.
About how it's injured?
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, she got it cranked and she's broken it 2 times.
And that now that she has to have another surgery to get the plates taken out, because even though
you're in a dangerous career.
Even though the arm healed, she can't do certain things, like she can't hold pads for her teammates because of the plate.
Well, that makes sense.
So, well, yeah, but then why you, like, you just said like 2 weeks ago, you were 100% healed. You're in the best shape of your goddamn life. Like, that's the thing about that makes it hard, and it's happening. I think for me as a fan,
sure,
right? It's happening a little bit with like with female fighters, where if a male fighter is not in shape, we're quick to be like, what the fuck is with this guy?
Right.
But if a female fighter is not in shape, then they don't really talk about it. The MMA media kind of ignores it.
Sure.
And it's like, well, we got to have a fucking way to speak about the whole fight game, regardless of the gender, right? Because that is a factor.
Yeah,
and you
unquestionably.
watch some of these women that are in shape put amazing performances. Yeah. Like Rose and Andrade. I
mean, Andrade was shredded.
And you watch some of the ladies in the prelims and stuff that you go, well, you've been fighting so long to get here, right? I'm sorry, but some of you are not in the type of shape to be taking off completely between fights.
Well, and do you think this just speaks to the level of women's MMA and like the evolution of the game? Because it is different. It is different than men's MMA. Like, just facts. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful by any means, but
it does. But I also think that we're taking a little bit too easy on some of the same criticisms and judgments that apply to the fight game in general, because people are afraid to say something wrong or hurt somebody's feelings or something like that.
Totally.
And but it is a fight game.
Yeah.
And part of the fight game is to step on a scale in order to get into the fight for the fight game. So,
and you would have to imagine, right? It's easier to be in a fight with a 6-pack than not. I'm no scientist, but you just have to imagine.
Listen, there may be a Daniel Cormier of females out there. I just haven't seen it. The ones that I've seen succeed and not be gassed out at the end of the fight are in shape. The ones that I see struggle in the middle of round 2
and never break it into the upper echelon of the divisions,
they're not in shape,
right?
So I just, that part of it, I think is
and like, again, that just, and to me, I think it just speaks to the women's WMMA being 5 years behind men's MMA, and there's just not as many women doing it, so you don't have as many options of there's just not a bigger pool, so you can kind of get away with not being as in shape, because you're able to win fights and you're able to rise through the division, and you're able to until you're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they gotta fill the roster, I guess. But it was,
featherweight, there's nobody in the featherweight, right? If you look at women's featherweight rankings, there's the champ, Amanda Nunes, and then there's nobody listed on the rankings, for example. So, and 145 that's a big gal to cut weight and get shredded at 145.
Weight, that means that's a woman that's walking around probably like 170, 165, 60-ish.
And like, it'll be curious, like, right? Because I feel like we're at the point with men's MMA where we're getting more crossover athletes to go into mixed martial arts. I don't think we're seeing that with women's MMA yet, right? I don't think somebody that plays volleyball or soccer is necessarily translating that into MMA. And I feel like we're starting to see that with kids with like male children who are younger, who maybe they don't go into soccer, football, or whatever because there is MMA. I'm not necessarily sure there's a whole lot of little girls who think, I'm not going to go play soccer. I'm not going to go play volleyball. I'm not going to go do dance. I'm going to go do MMA.
That's a fair That's a fair generalization, I think.
It's a generalization, unquestionably.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
But I think it's fair because I can't think off the top of my head of many fighters that were already like wanting to be a fighter as a little girl. It still seems to be more of a plan B.
Maybe Kayla Harrison?
Well, yeah, she was in jiu-jitsu. Well, yeah, but I mean, not really because she didn't go pro in MMA until she was over 30, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Ronda? She grew up doing judo?
No, that was plan B also because it was judo first, not MMA. She didn't strike.
Yeah, no, I guess that's true. I mean, okay, so then do you know who would be? Rose.
Rose?
I mean, yeah, it would be Rose Namajunas. Thug Rose.
Yeah. Well, Paige.
Yeah, no, and Paige.
You know, Paige Van Zandt.
I mean, she has a professional dancing career as well.
Well, I
mean, she got paid to dance. That makes you a professional dancer.
Yeah, but so damn Corolla.
He's a professional dancer. I'm not saying you're a good professional dancer.
Okay.
Have you been paid to dance?
No, I have.
So you're an unprofessional dancer.
I cannot say I have. but the day is young.
Have you been paid to golf? Have you won money golfing?
I mean, I won bets and shit.
In my mind, that makes you a professional golfer. You're making money golfing, baby.
I see. I'm professional at a lot of things.
And when you think in this mindset, it's a great mindset to have. I recommend all you little beasts out there, if you ever have gained money from doing anything, you're a professional at whatever that is.
Until found out. And you may never be found out.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers make stock market careers out of that.
Speaking of that, I just want to let all of you know, we are the fastest rising podcast in the world right now. In the world. That is a verified fact. So please, tell all your friends about us. We're only going to grow if you tell your friends about us, your family members, your moms, your dads, your grandpas. Maybe not your grandpas and grandmas. They probably don't want to listen to us.
That's inappropriate.
But like your cousins who are like around your age, who are into cool stuff like you're into, that's our market. Cool cousins.
That's true. That's a key demo for us.
Stupid. It's so fucking dumb.
Oh, shit. So this coming week we have a card on Wednesday.
We have a card on Wednesday and Saturday. Do you have those pulled up? Because I don't. I can do it.
I know
I can
Dan Ige is headlining Wednesday's card, I believe.
Dan Ige versus Calvin Kattar. Dan Ige.
Yeah, that's such a good matchup, man. And if Dan can get this one, it really, really puts him in a fucking serious plane of conversation.
So Dan Ige fights out of Las Vegas at Extreme Couture MMA versus Calvin Kattar, who's fighting out of Jersey, I think with Sarah's gym, right? Matt Sarah's?
I think so. I think he's with Longo, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I love Dan Ige. I'm excited for him. I really like Calvin Kattar, and my heart is pulled both ways in this fight, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Calvin Kattar, especially after what he did in his last fight. So UFC Fight Night 172 on Wednesday night. It's headlined by Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige. In the co-main event, you have Tim Elliott versus Ryan Benoit. Featured bout, you have Jimmy Rivera versus Cody Stamann. A women flyweight match, Molly McCann versus Talia Santos. And then the opener is someone I do not recognize, and it's a name I will definitely butcher, so I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you props. Prelims, I don't recognize anybody, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be good. And then the Saturday card is headlined by the rematch between Joey Benavidez and can you pronounce his name for me? Figueroa?
Davison.
Spelled with an EI. There's no A in that front.
Davison?
For sure. Figueroa. And that's a rematch where Figueroa won last time, but he came in overweight.
But Joey took it in short notice, I think, too.
And Figueroa came in overweight, so that would have been for the flyweight belt after Mighty Mouse, after Cejudo vacated. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited. Yeah. I feel like if you're an MMA fan, you kind of have to be pulling for Joey B to get it done this time.
Yeah. I think it's he's put in a lot of work over the years, man. Especially for the lower weight classes, he's been a staple and one of the main. One of the main guys that, there was a lot of them at first, and he's one of the ones that has stayed the course and everything. He just hasn't gotten that strap. So it'd be great. Obviously, him and his wife are really tied in with the company.
Right. His wife, Megan Olivia.
So the whole package of the story.
They're great. They're great. Yeah.
It's awesome. And
as a UFC fan, you got to love them. Yeah, you got to love them as a couple. They're a little bit of a power couple.
Be cool. But Figueiredo don't give a fuck about none of that.
He does not. As proven in the last fight.
No. He has a half a fuck to give. Right. And it's not about that. So
question is he going to make weight? That's the question. You would have to assume. But he's already missed weight
like
for a title belt.
All the control that they've had over the fighters because of the virus is making it easier to manage that, because
Hopefully.
you have custody of those individuals in the island
For like 3 weeks beforehand.
Exactly. Right. So what can really go wrong that you wouldn't know about?
Yeah.
And the way this guy's cut away, just I don't know. I feel like by the time they got there with the whole lockdown, they don't even have a lot of time. I just think it increases the likelihood of them not having any problems cutting weight, because it's such a controlled environment. Right. Now, people fuck up. But I feel like if you're getting your temperature checked all the time, how many UFC employees have given you a once-over?
Right.
Since you started going through this process.
The first event in Abu Dhabi, and they boasted something like 8,500 tests done. Stop looking at the fan. It's okay. You keep looking at it.
No, I'm just...
You keep looking. In the co-main event, because there's a fire co-main event, Jack Hermanson versus Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah. You hate Kelvin Gastelum.
It's just another guy that I don't think we're going to see his best, and I think it's because he's not in fucking shape.
He's found success.
Kind of.
He's found more success at middleweight than he did at welterweight.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he's not. We're not talking about a Hall of Famer here.
Yeah,
we're not talking about a fucking champion, a world beater.
Top 5 in his division.
Yeah. So was Anthony Rumble Johnson, and he can walk in the mall right now, and nobody knows the fuck he is except for the one guy that works at a sports shop, man.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Rumble Johnson has like 30, 40 pounds more. He looks like a whole other person. I mean, he looks like he ate himself.
Well, I mean, and I want to see, I mean, I guess it's interesting to see how Gastelum looks, what kind of shape he's in. I think his better showings are when he looks in worse shape. So,
which is weird, right? Yeah, very strange.
It's a little bit like a Cormier thing. Like, say Cormier is a world champion in multiple divisions and multiple organizations. Just for that difference.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, man, it's going to be cool. I like what based on what we saw over the weekend, I like what they're doing in the island to be able to continue providing shit.
Sure.
And I do think that one thing is, and a lot of people ain't going to like this, but Dana White's going to fucking go down in history.
Yeah, unquestionably.
For being the one fucking promoter of events of this type that figured out how to continue going the course during this pandemic. So I think it's very interesting.
Well, and doesn't some royal member of Abu Dhabi have some sort of like 10% stock in the UFC?
Yes. Yeah, a while back they had sold it. I think it was before the WME thing. They sold a piece.
Right. Because
I think that's when they built the performance center and the Apex and all that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's when they had an influx of money.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool because by all accounts, by all social media, the fighters that are going out to Abu Dhabi are being taken care of.
Yeah.
Incredibly so. Yeah. Incredibly so, which is awesome to see. But hey, UFC, maybe raise their wages, their living wages for all the guys who are not getting fights right now, who are struggling to make ends meet, because they're definitely out there. They're definitely out there, especially right now. There's one other thing I was going to say about that. Venom. The announcement of the Venom deal for sponsorships.
I love it.
How do you feel about Venom? Do you have experience with their gear?
Yeah, I think it's good gear.
Okay.
I think it's good gear. I mean, it's. I would say that it's the best gear at its price point.
Because it's not like a very
you're not
upper end. It's like middle of the road, almost like middle upper.
Middle upper.
Okay.
But it's durable. It's durable.
That's important.
It's well made. It's contoured properly. Sure. Sometimes you buy some of the Thai gear and it's so hard that it takes you fucking like a year for it to mold into your body and actually be wearable, you know?
Right.
The Venom stuff is made nicely. It's contoured well. I've used a lot of their stuff.
Well, and so what I really like about it, right, from moving from Reebok to Venom is comfortable in the space of combat sports, where like Reebok, that was kind of their first entryway into the world of combat sports, where, right, currently Venom has a sponsorship deal with Lomachenko and has a whole like Lomo fight line gear of the clothes, and it looks pretty dope. I'm not a huge boxing fan, but I'd wear that. It's cool. Yeah. So I'm excited to see, right, if they're already doing that with boxers, I'm excited to see if we can do this with some of the champs and kind of give them their own fight line, because like, right, that's a great revenue stream for everybody involved.
Like a weird thing, and this is just my own experience with Reebok and the Reebok deal, right? I've been a fan of the UFC since the 90s, so like basically the whole time, and hardcore for almost 20 years. I purchased specific walkout shirts and training shorts that I saw my favorite fighters have. You know,
I have a pair of the old Bones red and black shorts. Thai shorts are dope.
I
I had a BJ Penn walkout shirt.
Nice, that's awesome.
And then I still have a pair of Brandon Vera's Muay Thai shorts.
That's awesome.
It was like 2005
right.
or something, you know? I looked at buying some shorts from Reebok that I've seen on some of the fighters. Some of the high slit Muay Thai
They're cool.
shorts.
They're really cool.
They don't fucking sell them on the Reebok website.
Nope.
You have to buy them from the UFC official apparel site. They're $300.
That's insane. And like, right. So I think the Reebok deal in retrospect, right? Not best for the fighters, but good for the UFC. It was good for the UFC, unquestionably, right? We went from...
I golf also. And when Tiger Woods was huge in the early 2000s, I could go to the sporting goods store and get the shirt, the Nike shirt that Tiger wore that weekend for the fucking tournament, right? And that would be maybe a $60 or $100 shirt if you want, right? But it was there. Right. It wasn't like, oh no, this one is from this, or it's like it's almost like they thought this was gonna become like a jersey thing for football teams.
Yeah,
it's like that's not that kind of sport, fucko. Do you know? By the way, this fucking shorts that we buy for training for $60, Venom, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Hayabusa. You buy them for $60 to $100. They last you 10 fucking years. I mean, I have shorts that last maybe not 10 years, but I mean,
but still.
This is not going to shit right away. It's not like, again, a jersey, which I understand has very specific washing rituals or non-washing rituals.
Depending on your person. Of course.
And whatnot. You know what I mean? I'm saying, oh shit, look at that kickboxer shorts. I'd like to wear them shits to the gym and see how they kick.
Right.
They're $300. My gym membership is $200 for the month, and that's unlimited. You want me to spend a month's membership at the gym on your shorts where I could buy 3 Hayabusas or 4 Venoms?
Yeah.
On the count
economically.
Give me a... Did you want to interact with me as a fan, Reebok? No, you didn't.
Well,
that's what I have to say.
Yeah, and I would even say, right, like, there is some gear put out by Reebok that's like not like actual like training gear, but like just apparel that's like UFC branded. Not very good.
No, it's not very good. And then I hear from my man Sugar Sean how many units he sold because he's a personality and
that guy's dope.
And they send him some kind of bullshit check for like $2,200 or something. Like, what's he supposed to do with that besides buy a little bit of weed? That's ridiculous. My man Sugar makes that in like an hour of Twitch.
Yeah, 110%. 110%.
You know, like it's
that's incredible that you know what Twitch is and you just dropped it so casually.
Well, because I got hyped to Twitch, man. You know, you gotta learn. I've been getting hyped on some darkness. I went down a rabbit hole last.
Let me. What's
we're gonna move on from MMA? Are you ready? Are you ready to move on from MMA?
Yeah, I don't think there's the Reebok
thing. This old man's tripping.
You tripping?
Did you look into the wafers?
Oh, I'm so. I thought you were gonna say this. It's terrifying.
Oh my god,
it's so scary.
I get the vapors.
It's so scary. It's so scary. So right, if you've been living under a rock, let us break the news to you. Right, there is a online furniture company called Wayfair. Think of like an Amazon, but for strictly furniture, like IKEA, but just online. They have been found or found like on Twitter. This is going around screenshots of their general typical furniture priced astronomically high, but then being titled the names of missing children.
Recently missing, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Googleable.
It's terrifying, and it's almost to the point where like you have to wonder: is it? And like I hate to say this, but like, is it just child trafficking? Is there weapons trafficking going on? Is there ammo trafficking going on? It could be anything. We just don't know, right? The evidence points to just child trafficking. It's horrific. It's an awful thing, obviously.
It's the old, I'm not a drug dealer, sir. I sold Mr. Valdez a pencil. This pencil came with an ounce of weed for the price of $300. But what the man bought is this pencil right here.
Well, and that's just like a trivial example of what's actually happening is just absolutely terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
It's insane. It's too much. The way that it's being handled is terrifying.
You mean non-existently?
Well, I mean,
I haven't heard anything really about it except for my friends and like Twitter stuff. But like, I don't see any politician calling out on Wayfair.
Based on the response of the major social media companies to this, do they have powers of investigation that are so fast that they enable them to respond in that manner from an informed basis so quickly? Because it seems like a knee-jerk reaction, and it's on the wrong side of where I believe it should be as far as bearing the leads and bearing the trends and hiding everything to the back of the timelines. I think it's terrifying.
Well, and right, these companies do have, right, a reputation. And right, if you're the company that is where all this stuff is going down on, maybe that's not a reputation if you're Jack at Twitter that you necessarily want to be associated with. And right,
Exactly.
like it's very clearly Twitter is willing to kind of censor people, kick people off they don't personally particularly agree with.
That's the thing about it, and I think that's something that I see in general.
Sure, in general, it's not just.
I thought about, I don't know why I was thinking about that when I was running the other day, but I was like, if I got to ask a question, let's say to the two presidential candidates,
Sure,
right?
okay.
And I was at one of those town hall
Joe
meetings,
Biden and Kanye West.
no, let's say Trump and Biden.
Right.
I would want it to be live on TV, and I just want to say, I would love to know what you agree in and what you like about each other.
That's a good question. Never be asked.
It's impossible that you cannot say one fucking thing. So, go. You're both wise old men.
Yeah.
You've raised men to get along with other men. What do you agree on? What has the other person done well? Go.
Sure.
I feel their heads would fucking explode like a pumpkin in a goddamn Halloween movie.
Yeah. In Pumpkinhead. Have you seen Pumpkinhead?
The Headless Horseman?
No, that's the Headless Horseman. I'm talking about Pumpkinhead.
Well, there's a pumpkin head in the Headless Horseman. Because a pumpkin gets stuck on the Headless Horseman. That's his wildly ragged
You're
horse.
thinking of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they're describing how they cracked the Liberty Bell. That's what you're thinking of.
No, that's a different one.
But that's also a Headless Horseman with a pumpkin on his head.
I'm thinking about the animation movie from Disney many years ago.
I know what you're talking about. There's Ichabod Crane. That's yeah. No, but Pumpkinhead is some shit.
Top notch.
Better book. Whatever. Pumpkinhead is a horrible. It's like a bad horror movie from like I think the 80s or 90s where the villain is, as you can imagine, Pumpkinhead, and he has a pumpkin for a head. It's very bad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You might like it because of how much bad.
I like horror movies of any sort.
But it's like not scary.
Yeah, but I don't have the patience because I don't care.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, so 10 minutes in, I'm like, I don't care. Like, what's going to happen? I don't care.
Okay.
You know? Normally, I'll start watching something else and I'm like, God damn it, I don't even like this, but I got to know what's going to happen.
Sure, yeah.
No,
Horror films are
like, what's going to happen after the first half hour of Guardians of the Galaxy? After 6 times? I don't care. I don't care. Too loud. Too many blow. What? Like, that's me watching those movies. Explosion. What? I can't, and then I turn it up because I can't.
Did you
Anyway.
Did you watch the most recent Rambo movie that came out? No? I heard you need to watch the uncut version to enjoy that movie. That Sylvester Stallone went out and released his own version of it that's uncut, extended.
That's hilarious.
With way more graphic and bloodier scenes in the original director's cut.
Well, that sounds cool, but also, nah. I just don't care about that.
It's hard for me to get into action movies. Any like Fast and Furious, Transformers.
No, I mean, listen, I look at that.
The Rock,
like,
man.
Every once in a while, the Rock movies.
The Lifeguard one was good, where he's a lifeguard. I think it's the remake of whatever the famous lifeguard show was with David Hasselhoff.
Baywatch.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I mean, it wasn't a good movie, but it was good.
Yeah, no, it's tough for me, man. I don't care. If it's not funny,
yeah, it has to be funny for me. I gotta be giggling.
I want funny, dude. Like, listen,
the world's dark enough. We got this Wayfair shit going on.
Yeah, man, and it's gonna be a documentary eventually.
I hope.
Oh man,
I hope.
Yeah, it was. That shit's fucked up. So yeah, I went on a rabbit hole looking at all that shit. And
then you got.
And you know what's funny is that
Ghislaine arrested.
It's weird is that. Okay, let's say this is a conspiracy, right? At the very least, and I am a very dumb person. Should they not be investigated for fucking money laundering at the very least? Because if you have this table there for $50 and you have this table there for $10,000
the same
in a site where you have to register to use your payment source and everything is traceable, shouldn't that be a slam dunk for the authorities to investigate what the fuck is going on with these funds?
I could just be ignorant of any sort of public figure that's come out to question this, but why has no politician said anything about this?
Yeah,
why has no senator, no representative, no governor? Like, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just I feel like everybody knows about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no. Well, now also with the arrest of Maxwell,
Ghislaine Maxwell,
that they think
Ghislaine.
that I read today headline. I didn't click on the article, but it's saying that she already let him know that she has videotape of a ton of politicians.
Of course she does. Of course she does.
As much as some of the politicians in our country are deeply seated institutions in the political landscape.
Absolutely,
right?
unquestionably.
As much as I don't want anybody to get away with anything, it would be a shift of seismic proportions,
right,
to our entire legislative.
Yeah, it seems so. It would seem
structure.
To be right.
So it's so fucked up because I almost don't want anything to happen. It's almost like, why don't we just get on it? And I know it's fucked up. I'm just saying, like, I'm being vulnerable.
I get what you mean.
I almost feel like, can we just cut the shit now? Let's just clean it. Listen, this is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's not go back. The same with racism. And same with like a bunch of shit. Listen,
let's just end it all,
no
Carlos.
Scrubbing back. Let's just focus now and forward.
Right.
You know, like
Carlos,
let's like.
I just want to let you know. I think you figured it out.
Fucking terrible.
I think you fixed the world right now with this conversation. Just stop being racist, everybody.
But no. I mean, not even today. Start tomorrow. But the problem is that when the guy starts tomorrow, then you go, well, yeah, but we got to talk about last year, motherfucker. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Let's have a moratorium. We cannot fix the past like that. God damn, this is fucking.
But you can't put a moratorium on that, right? Like everything, just it's the way history works. Everything that has led to this moment is a very important part of what led to this moment, and you have to acknowledge it.
Well, who knows what's gonna happen?
Well, and like, right, it's crazy. Did you see that? The San Gabriel mission in California was burned down. Did you not see it? It was one of 3 churches that was burned down in the last weekend.
I did not.
Right. So the San Gabriel mission was the first mission. I believe, maybe not the first, but was one of the first missions to be established in California by Father Juniper Serra, I think his name is. He was basically the main Franciscan monk that came with the Spaniards to establish a lot of the missions. Right. And he is obviously a very mixed figure, and I would say in the last 6 months has become much more controversial because he is now seen as a representative of the Spanish government. The Spanish government is seen as a representative of colonization.
Good came from it. When it did.
A church got burned down. A 250-year-old church in California.
Wow.
I'm not even the most religious, but in terms of like historical, that sucks.
Well, there's that, and the people that burned it down, they have plans to build something else there, or they're just going to move on to burn something else.
Well, and the fire started at 4 a.m. in the morning. No idea who started it. No idea how it started. Maybe it was a divine act from above. Who knows?
That's fucked up, man.
I know, any sort of, I feel like 250-year-old historical building. It doesn't have to be a church. It doesn't have to do anything with religion. That's a bummer to lose for society.
I have kind of a golden rule. Is you're not allowed to criticize something without at least offering up what your idea would be to make it better. And too many people are professional criticizers that have no alternative ideas. And it's very easy.
Yeah, the world would be a lot better and more productive.
It's very easy to criticize and not have an input or a thought or a jumping off point.
Well, and
of some sort.
And I was
and
also,
some of them are professionals just at that. You know?
Sure, but then there are some who do offer solutions and they get ignored.
Some, yeah.
Right? I mean, you're constantly battling outside lobbying interests just in your own city. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, for example, right? Or in Nevada, right? Imagine if mining paid an adequate tax fund. Maybe our education wouldn't be 49th in the country. Yeah. Maybe we wouldn't have to be cutting healthcare and education in this corona pandemic, which they're currently doing in the special session. They're proposing cuts to education. They're proposing cuts to healthcare, which doesn't make sense to me if we're in the middle of a global pandemic, but whatever.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, this is so urgent. They're not working this weekend. It's a special session. They called it because we're in a pandemic that we need to figure stuff out. They're not working this weekend. Come on, guys. I don't know.
It's terrible. Let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Second rabbit hole I went on. This is a fun one.
Good. This is an opposite. Yeah.
This is a good one. Did you look into the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett shit?
I only saw memes. Memes.
That's so great.
The memes are great. The memes are fire.
On Twitter, and this motherfucker's like, Will Smith's calendar would be like June, July, X. And then somebody made a remix a song where she's like, Entanglement and Entanglement. and then another one that I saw was like Will Smith looking at Jada like he's on the set of The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, I saw The Pursuit of Happy Penis. That was the meme I saw.
Oh, shit.
So mean. It's so mean.
It's so fucked up, man. And then, of course, I went on that rabbit hole. Then I found out that his son has said that he doesn't look at him as his dad, that he thinks that Travis Scott is more of a father to him. Whatever the fuck that means. And then there was another one where Willow wrote a letter to Tupac to let him know how much her mom misses him.
It is not good for your mental health to be rich and famous. That is what this tells me. It is just not
it
like...
makes me think Jada walking around the house in a robe, drunk, at 3 in the afternoon with a cigarette, telling the kids about how she used to fuck Tupac, and he was twice the man that their dad was.
I hope not.
I mean, what the fuck is going on? And then the interview, bro. There's like
I didn't watch the interview.
Oh, it's cringeworthy. Fuck, bro. It's so hard to watch.
The way you're laughing right now, I feel like I'm horrified. I feel like I'm terrified to become rich and famous because, like, right, there's such little evidence of showing that seems to be productive for your mental health, right? You're over here laughing.
He's acting so fucking cool, but you can tell it's like crushing. And
it's years of acting.
And evidently, this is not like a new thing.
Right.
Like this happened like some years back. So they both say that they were separated. He had moved out or whatever, right? And all of that. But the way that they talk about it and the way that she talks about it, it's like, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but when the guy August first said that he had a relationship with her, she put out a press release saying that this was just falsehood. And they deny this shit. They deny this shit. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because up in the deep Reddits and up in the deep,
look at you,
Twitters.
Look at you.
They were saying that's why they released it this week because the Wayfair shit was gonna hit. And they're trying to be like, look at the shiny.
God. Will Smith is going to come kill us. Just like Kevin Spacey. I said Kevin Spacey was going to come kill us last time. Will Smith is going to find us.
Crazy. Man, did you see? There's a good tweet that there's an interaction that 50 Cent retweeted.
No.
Where he texted Will Smith. And it's like, dude, why are you letting her talk about your business in front of everybody and shit? And
was there a response?
Yeah, Will Smith was like, fuck you, 50. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Sure, yeah.
You all Google it. Beasts. Go do
Lil Beasts. Lil Beasts.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no. So that's what was up.
The world is so scary.
Oh, dude.
The world is just so scary. It really seems the move is to like not make a lot of money, but enough to have like a little egg and go fuck off. And just not be in the public eye.
The move is develop fucking self-worth regardless of how much money you make.
Sure, yeah,
because the people who think that the self-worth is going to come from their money end up seeking notoriety. There's plenty of people that are rich as fuck that we don't know because that's not what made them who they are.
Like the financer behind Epstein. I don't know the guy. I don't know his name.
Yeah. I mean, even for instance, just take a page out of W. W finished with the presidency.
Got the fuck out of the public eye.
Where is he?
Texas, I think.
Every 5 years.
Some Texas ranch, hopefully.
5 years, one of his shitty pictures leaks out. You know, and he's like, getting better, stroke. That's it. He quiet his fucking mouth and he gone. That's what he got to do. That's what I want to do. I don't want anybody to bother me. But
once you retire from presidency, you want to go.
No. Listen, once I retire from anything, if I make $1 or $1 million, it's to be left the fuck alone in anonymity with my friends and family.
That's the dream, right? Anonymity.
Listen, as soon as you start trading all that shit for money, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, man. So, I mean, and to some of them, I guess having a public presence, it's kind of like part of the deal, like a Mark Cuban type of dude or a Elon type of guy or anything. But I think there's probably been people in the history of American culture that did the same thing without being in the public eye. I don't know how many interviews you can find with some of the old guard
CEOs and entrepreneurs. I mean,
and I wonder if there was more control in terms of like their communication now or less with social media. I would have to assume probably more control back then, when like the days of like Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, right, when they're actually forming these huge steel companies and railroad companies. You don't gotta go tell a reporter from Twitter. Like,
I think it's enticing, because
Sure.
I think that if you see one person get a result that you would like to get out of them using those platforms, and you're in a similar position, I think it's enticing, even if you're not the type of person to seek that.
so maybe like an Elon Musk type person, because
Yeah.
by all accounts, he seems very introverted, very happy to be in his workshop, a la Tony Stark, tinkering away. But he goes on these crazy Twitter rants.
Yes, but also I think that keeps, to a certain degree, listen, I'd rather be thought of crazy because of my words than be thought of anything else by the public interpretation of who I am in silence. So if he stays silent, there's more.
Maybe.
There's more control of a narrative that's not up to him. I suppose, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of see it a little bit that way, but it seems like a slippery slope to fucking have to climb anyway, you know?
Well, and you would have more sense of this than I would. Did like Steve Jobs have a very public-facing persona? Not really, no?
He did to his advantage, though, because he controlled every aspect.
But they were like controlled events. But it wasn't like he was hopping on Twitter and going crazy.
No, not
but
really.
Twitter
But it was
wasn't
a different
nearly
time,
exactly.
though.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
So,
I'm sure if he ever wanted to have an article written about him or a product, he could make that happen.
I'm sure. Yeah,
with
and
any
if he didn't want
publication.
one, he probably suppressed it too.
With any public,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, so who knows, man? But it is crazy, because I saw that, and obviously you're seeing some horrifying suggestions of what these companies could be doing.
Sure.
And clearly what people do. You
Yeah,
know,
what they are doing,
human
what they are
trafficking.
doing.
It's
Yeah.
a matter of fact, we're not speculating
Right.
that it exists. And it's just, it gets to be a little bit like you go, really? And what else right now? Because the corona seemed like it was somewhat contained, and now it's spiking again.
Right.
And you see,
Yeah, totally.
and it's getting so fucking politicized. And I don't see anybody still calling, there's no fair play from any point of view.
No.
You know, I saw a guy, it was a Twitter video, and there was a guy that was at some kind of grocery store. of some
Sure.
sort, and he was a bigger dude, right? And he didn't have a mask on. And they asked him to put on a fucking mask, and he dismissed the woman. The woman started videotaping him, and another woman started videotaping him. And he started saying something like, "You're infringing upon my rights," and all this shit. And I'm just like, people are forgetting.
The argument's so dumb.
Yeah.
The argument's so stupid.
You know what I mean? You don't. If you walk into somebody's house and they go, "Hey, this is you take your shoes off in
Right.
this house, please," right? You have two choices. You welcome into the house by taking your shoes off and being a good guest, or you go, "Well, I don't take my shoes off for nobody.
I got bunions. My toes stink.
I'm leaving." Clearly, this is not going to be a friendship.
Right. Yeah.
You don't wear shoes, I don't take them off. Fuck you. And leave. That's your
Yeah.
American
Yeah.
right. You don't get to walk in there to tell the person why you think that the rule's ridiculous.
Right.
And that part is just so it's so conveniently lost on people.
When like there's such a poor understanding of our rights as American citizens across the board, I feel like.
True.
The actual rights. Because like, right, if you're a private business, right, they absolutely can tell you to go fuck yourself if you're not wearing a mask. Just like if it was a private residence. Like, it's not a public, it's not a government entity. And even then, I feel like government entities have kind of the right to tell you to wear a mask. Fuck off.
And I just want people to get a little smarter. Like, what if you said to this person, "Sir, why don't you seem like you're replete of friends because you're in the majority, right? Why don't you find one of those majority, like your people that owns their store and buy your goods from them so that you have a matching ideology of this? What are you doing here? Did you walk into the wrong store?
Right.
Are you going to go to Cuba to
totally.
get your fucking mattress?
Well, and did you see the maskless protests? They did.
I saw the headline, the Nevada one.
Yeah, it's like Nevada No Mask PAC or whatever it's called. What a bunch of real mouth breathers. Like, what a bunch of real mouth breathers.
Now, one thing that I did see that I like is they starting to turn up the pressure on the cigarette smoking. It seems like.
What do you mean?
Here in town, they started suggesting to a lot of casinos that they just do away with smoking altogether.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's already, been proven to be one of the leading
Right.
risk factors, right?
What?
And I mean, it's not like it's news to anybody, you know.
Right.
Plus, I've been saying this for a while. Like a lot of the casino workers are starting to be, at worst, vapors. You know, young kids don't really smoke cigarettes.
Right.
So if you're 22 years old and you get a casino job, why should you die of cancer? Because
all of a sudden
people that have been told it's poison for 30 years refuse to give a shit.
Yeah, for real.
Right? Because that's what...
But my rights, Carlos, my rights. If I want to ruin my lungs, I can.
Listen,
my rights, America.
That just bleeds into my hatred for unions. How the fuck did they ever were able to write smoke breaks into union rights?
Because that's what the members of the union wanted.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's what members of the union wanted, right?
So
they were smokers.
Give us the poison and the healthcare.
And not only that,
please.
right? Like, oh, well, funny. Yes, true. That's a great point. But like, right?
I demand my poisons and my healthcare. How about you don't take the poison and we give you the healthcare anyway? Fuck you.
Well, and like, right? Let's be real. There is a vast, maybe not a vast majority, but there is a percentage of people who started smoking cigarettes because it gave them more breaks at work.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, when I used to work at restaurants, I'd take a cigarette break, not to smoke a cigarette, but fuck you.
Right. If fucking Jeffrey over here gets to go out, kill his lungs, I'm going to go out and get some fresh air.
Listen, we're going to kill 15 minutes one way or another. All of us or none of us?
Right. Yeah.
Suck my dick. Can't smoke the weed here. Not by the dumpsters. Not in the bathroom. Shit. But yeah, that was my deep dive into the horribleness. And then to wash it off, I was like, oh, I heard about that new Chappelle thing, the 849 or whatever.
Oh, that's not something to watch to bring your spirits up.
Oh,
definitely not. I mean, it's really well done.
It's very good. But I got done and I was like, Jesus Christ. I had to watch like 90 Day Fiance just to wash it off.
And like, right, I think there is a prevalence amongst comedians where they look to themselves as like modern day philosophers. I may have mispronounced that word. And I think a lot of the time that's a little presumptuous because you're just trying to make us laugh. But I think in Dave Chappelle's case,
he is that.
He is that.
Yeah.
He very clearly is that.
Yeah, man.
Because he was just speaking from the heart. He was just speaking with he's funny, so there are laughs throughout it, but
it wasn't funny.
No,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He came out there with a very poignant message, and to just release it, just drop and be like, here, I feel like I need to say something, and this is the only way. I'm going to go do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to get people. He's a pro. He's a pro.
I like the fact that it's on YouTube from the perspective standpoint of view that it seems like it's not to benefit anybody. Obviously, YouTube probably made millions from it.
Well, and I'm sure.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right, and I'm sure there's probably ads and running on it for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's cool that he didn't release it.
The self-starting aspect of it.
It doesn't appear to be released as his Netflix deal, like his specials are.
Right.
You know, which is a little more self.
Which I'm sure he has like a contract deal to release a certain amount.
It came off like a true artistic outlet.
Yes.
Like he has this and now it's got to come out. And it's got to come out right now. You know? Like, it was good, man. It was good. But yeah, I don't know. I got to figure out what to watch the rest of today.
Right.
Because I can't do no more emotional shit.
I got the perfect recommendation. I mentioned this to you last week. Love on Netflix. It is directed by Steve Buscemi. Love, Love. It has Jillian Jacobs not Jillian Jacobs. The blonde lady. Her first name's Jillian. I can't think of her last name. Maybe it is Jacobs. From Community.
Oh.
It's a blonde. Yeah, there is a Jillian Jacobs who's an actress. Me and my friends were talking about her, but I don't think that she's the lady in Community. But she's very good in it. Steve Buscemi went out with this, in my head, this is the narrative I have. He was like, I'm going to find a motherfucker that's uglier than me and cast him as my lead. And we're going to be success. And they have 3 seasons and it's very well done. Love.
I will look for it.
Yeah. Ugliest man you'll ever see on TV.
Somebody told me, have you seen the vampire show that's supposed to be like The Office?
What? Oh, time out. What? Please.
It's a vampire show that's called From the Shadows or In the Shadows. Or
okay, and it's like The Office?
It's on Hulu. It's an FX show.
Okay.
And
FX has a good
it's supposed to be
track
like
record.
The Office.
Interesting.
It's like documentary style film.
Mockumentary.
Mockumentary, excuse me. It's supposed to be funny.
All right.
Yeah, and I've heard from a couple of people about it. It's like, oh, the shit keeps coming out. So yeah, because I gotta come up with something. In other news, I'm you talking about workout, man.
Oh yeah?
Some metabolic training.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either. That's why I had my face.
But it's on the On It website. And they have 8 programs, too.
So describe to me what.
So what it says is that metabolic training is training that is aimed to be a motherfucker of a workout in a short period of time.
Okay.
What it does is it burns more calories before, during and after the workout.
So it's almost like a more targeted, high intensity interval training.
Yes.
That's in my head. That's what makes it sounds like.
60 seconds on.
Okay.
So there's like 8 exercises.
So it is. I mean, this sounds exactly like high intensity interval training.
And they're all doing 60 seconds off, 20 minutes, 20 seconds off, 16 on, 60
okay.
off, 20 off, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're doing like 3 rounds of each exercise, and there's like 10 exercises.
Gotcha.
And it's like 45 minutes for the entire workout. But yeah, so I'm gonna try that. Got some new equipment, and had a hell of a Friday. I didn't even tell you.
What happened?
So I went golfing in the morning with our brother, and I went to the office, got some shit done.
I gotta get out there on the field or on the course with you guys. I gotta go.
Nice, man. It was a good time. It was really hot, but they golfed so early that we were done. I was at the office at 10.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So you guys started like what, 6?
5 at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we played in 3 hours and 20 minutes.
It's pretty quick.
It was nice. It was nice. But so I got to the office, get all my shit done, send some emails, blah, blah, blah. Last Monday, I had to go to Mesquite to do a presentation to a homeowners association. And so
it's like what, an hour and a half drive? Hour?
It's about an hour. Okay. It's about an hour. But so anyway, Friday, I went golfing, came home. We hung out with the kids. We fucking
children, El Niños.
Yeah. So
El Niño Beastos.
The night before, my son Michael had his appointment, so he had really good blood work. So we were like super happy, and slept fucking great. I slept like fucking 8 hours, 9 hours.
That's a beautiful thing.
I fell asleep like at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
That is a beautiful thing. And you're up at like 4, ready to go.
I woke up, I stretched, went golfing, blah blah blah. Come home, and then right around 3 o'clock, I told Jamie, I'm like, you know what? This is a good day. This is a good week.
Right.
I look at my email. Purchase order from the deal that I went to try to close on the Monday. So it was like, had a little drizzle.
Right.
Had a little drizzle. Had some food.
Nice.
Slept. Woke up on Saturday. Went on a run.
Right.
Took my boy on a bike ride. Played some tennis with Ricky. Made tapas. Watched the UFC.
It's a great card. It's a great card.
Oh, tremendous weekend, man. Yeah. Tremendous weekend. You know?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Ready to roll tomorrow. Ready to roll. See what this Monday's gonna do.
Right.
Hopefully all this wafer shit is a hoax.
I don't think it is.
And I hope it is.
Right.
But the coincidences are vast and they're terrifying. And God damn it, take care of your kids, man. This is,
Yes, please.
There's one thing we've learned from all this. Anything that comes out, obviously, it's always after the fact. Is they looking for wounded antelope? These predators,
right?
Yep. You got to take care of your fucking kids.
It does happen where there are loving families where children are taken from them. That is absolutely a real thing. So let's not discredit that either. But there is, unquestionably, there is a parenting shortage in America.
Yep. So we'll see what develops. I'm interested with the Maxine too. We'll see what happens if they can keep her alive.
Yeah, or she kills herself like Epstein did.
They're like, well, we don't know what happened, but we do know she was really suicidal because we talked to her and she told us. That's the official story.
We have these notes.
And that's it. And see, look at this. I told them. That's when she told us. So yeah, man. That's it. What do you have going on?
So I'm just super busy with student government, right? I'm in student government for my college. We are anxiously awaiting fall semester, trying to figure out how, right, as student government, it seems this upcoming semester and the spring semester are going to be very much devoted to trying to give some sort of campus life to students when we're all remote, right? My school is only doing either online classes or hybrid classes, which means you come 1 week to campus for a lecture, and it's only for specific classes. So it's not even all these classes can be hybrid. You come once 1 week, and then the following week is an online session where you log in all at the same time and hop into like a Zoom call or something. So it's very difficult to try to plan some sort of event to make everyone feel welcome on campus when can't really be on campus. Anything we try to organize, we have to follow social distancing guidelines. And I'm not complaining, right? I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad the school's making us do all of this. But it's just interesting. I'm doing this this upcoming week. I'm doing this week-long like student government training with this institute that like we're bringing together a bunch of different student governments from all around the nation, and we're all hopping into like, I don't know how we're going to do it, probably like Zoom or some sort of voice calls, but and I assume that's going to be a big part of the conversation. How do we, because like in my head, like, right, student government is there to advocate for students and to make school a better place for everybody, right? Giving a campus life, that's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been good. It's been exciting to feel like I'm in a group of people who are all working very hard to a common goal. So that's a good feeling. I feel like it's a good group to be with. And if you are in school right now, if you're in college, I would highly recommend getting involved in anything on campus. It doesn't have to be student government. Just a club, get involved with a campus.
Honestly, that's not just school. It's just
everything.
Life. It's in life. Get involved with a community of fill in the blank.
So I'm gonna butcher some of the details of this, but in New York there is a neighborhood community where their average life is something like, I think in the hundreds. It's like a small little community, and anthropologists went into the study where they found where the common link that all these people had were that they were all very involved in at least, I think, 6 or 8 different social groups. And that kept them young, that kept them invigorated, right? And that makes sense, whether it's your church, whether it's in your school, whether it's in your gym where you exercise, or if it's like you have a group of buddies that you play video games with. Like, the more of those types of social groups you're able to involve yourself in, and I'm saying this as someone that can be sometimes extroverted, but also someone that deals with anxiety and being introverted and not feeling the most comfortable in social situations. The more you force yourself to push yourself in those types of situations, it's just, the results are kind of speak for themselves, at least in my experience.
And especially, I think, yes, that 100%. But also in this time where we've been cooped up, there's all kinds of things that could be going on that couldn't be going on.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of the labeled conspiracy theories of the past turn out to be 100% true. That's happened, So I just think, well, what I mean is that we're very easy to control as a society.
Sure.
If we believe only the rhetoric that we're interacting with on our social media devices.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So the way to balance that out is to have interactions
in real life.
In real life.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to find people that you share at least one interest with.
Yeah.
And that interest is not very likely to be one of your hot button issues on social media.
Nope.
Because most people
don't live their life like that.
A lot more abrasive and aggressive on their social media hot button issues than they are when they're at the grocery store or where they're getting gas or if they go to a ceramics class or whatever the fuck it is, So that's all. The only way that I know I'm not crazy is by talking to other people that sometimes think like they're crazy. If I didn't talk to people that sometimes also
easy again in your own head.
Crazy, I fucking be
you overthink things.
So
and like you have to be vulnerable too, right? And I feel like so many men, I mean, I can't speak for women, obviously, and I assume probably women struggle with this too, but I know for a fact men struggle with this. Yeah. I know for a fact men struggle with being vulnerable in any context. I mean, not just talking about with your emotions, but just willing to go try something that you don't think you're going to be good at. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, and it's good to do that. It is like, we're being vulnerable right now recording this 110%, like, right? We are. And that's an exciting thing. And the more you push yourself to do that, I personally think your life is going to be more fulfilling.
Yeah.
You're going to have less regrets.
Yeah. No, and you're putting out what the law of attraction is 100% real. It just doesn't work without intent and effort behind it. But it's part of it. If you apply the law of attraction with intent and effort, then you're going to be surprised.
Well, and so, and there's a good portion of people that don't know how to be alone with themselves and don't even know what their own hobbies and interests are, unfortunately. Sometimes that's not always their fault. Sometimes they have so many responsibilities, work, they have a kid, there's plenty of valid actual reasons to struggle with this. But there's some people that just struggle with this and they don't necessarily have a reason to struggle. And I don't mean to discount anyone's struggle because we all go through struggles, but you just gotta be willing. Vulnerability is so big for me. I feel like that's been the biggest thing that's helped me in the last couple of years.
And a little bit is accept that everything is going to be work.
Yes.
Accept that being happy is going to be a mindset.
It's going to be a mindset that you have to work at.
Labor intensive endeavor.
Yeah.
It just is. People think like this is one thing that I've told my kids, right? Like you see a thing on TV and you see a family having a picnic.
Sure.
And you go, that looks wonderful. Right. Yeah, it does. What you don't see is that they had to pick the weekend. They had to look at the weather.
Right.
They had to know what park they were going to go to.
They had
what
the
space
funds
they were going to use.
They had to have the funds.
What are they going to eat? How are they going to transport all that?
They had to pack it all. They had to make sure that the kids were not sick. Like, you don't see all of that when you see a fucking postcard of the family.
Or an Instagram post.
Or an Instagram.
Right? I'm out here hiking. Look at me. I'm so cool.
Exactly. And now, that doesn't mean that person's experience and that snapshot is fake, though.
No, absolutely
Because it's easy to get cynical and be like, well, that's not real.
Right.
No, it is real, dum-dum. It's just that person earned that moment.
Sure.
By setting up whatever fill in the blank it was to get to that point. Much like everybody that everyone admires.
Sure.
Because people try to act like, well, not in my life. Oh, yes, it is. Because whether you're into video games, fashion, sports, fucking anything, whoever you admire in that fill in the blank
is portraying their best.
And they
an
put
image.
in the work.
It's a crafted
in the
image.
work.
Unquestionably, yeah. But it's a crafted image. And I'm not even going to go out and say that like that's a bad thing. I think it's good to curate and craft your image on social media. Well, I mean, because I have a very good reason, right? There are people who are being canceled all the time in this society that we live in. Like, right? Like, you have to be smart about what you put on the internet. You just do.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yeah. But some of the reason that you have to be smart about what you put on the internet is because a lot of people are not putting their work in their personal life, which leaves them with a lot of spare time to see what they can find around to be offended by.
Well, and like, right, social media should not be your diary.
Well, yeah.
It definitely should not be. And people use it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true, man.
It's like, go get a therapist.
Yeah.
That's going to be more beneficial.
Well, no, go have a beer with your friends.
If you don't have friends, go get a therapist.
Go,
Everyone.
Go have some fucking friends.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes you need a therapist to learn how to get friends.
That's a fair point.
I mean, like, I would love to live in a society where at like the age of like 15, 16, it's just normalized to go talk to a therapist 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Like, that would be cool if, like, as part of your insurance plan, you would have a certain amount of insurance Okay, so then I guess the key part of that sense would be to normalize that.
Yeah.
Because, like, right? Nope.
I mean, it really is a matter of destigmatizing it,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Because you'll be surprised. And I've done a lot of therapy myself. And one of the things that I found out about 6 years ago, I went through a heavy period of time where I did a lot of therapy. And as much as I've complained about healthcare and insurance and all that, it turned out that I had no limit of therapy sessions in my insurance.
That's awesome.
So I could literally go 3 times a week as long as I paid the copay, and there's no limit. Now, what's weird about that? If I have a surgery of any kind, there's only 10 physical therapists.
Well, I don't even want to get into that discussion because I'm going to be confused. I'm going to get confused really quick because none of that shit makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I know I'm not alone.
Well, that's what they count on.
Well, yeah, of course.
Now, we'll say this. Ever since the corona happened, it seems like everyone I know who's had like ongoing medical shit, all of a sudden they're on point. The billing is on time. It's like they caught up with everything. You know what I mean? Like, they're picking up the phone. The claims are getting paid right away. I was like, well, look at you guys. Like, is it the first time that you're not overwhelmed?
Right.
Maybe.
Interesting.
But anywho, well, that's everything I have, my friend.
Yeah, I feel good about this. I feel good.
Unless you've been watching reality television of the garbagest kind. But I'm telling you, you got to watch that Smother.
No.
Smother, 90 Day Fiance, 90 Day Fiance the other way. Woo!
I'm not gonna watch these.
It's fire.
I don't have that many brain cells. I'm not sure I want to lose.
Oh my goodness! No! Your brain cells take a nap. You put brain cells.
No, but here's the thing: I need my brain cells to be working out. They gotta be doing push-ups. They gotta be getting buff.
It's nappy time. We're gonna look at Dum. It's like watching people trip for an hour.
That doesn't sound like fun to me.
Oh my god! Have you ever seen a woman trip in high heels?
You know what I did see the other day? So me and Ricky, our brother, were out bowling, and two ladies crossed the foul line onto the lane and ate it so hard.
On the hip?
Yeah, on the butt. The audible thud. And Ricky looked at me, and like, we were both wearing masks. You had to wear masks to bowl. That's a bowling alley. Oh yeah, it's at GameWorks, so it's like a little arcade. It's not a big bowling alley. So, this lady ate it so hard, and the thud was so loud. And Ricky looks at me and goes, "I'm never gonna get tired of watching people fall at the bowling alley."
Well, it's the feet fly.
The feet do fly. That's a great term.
The feet fly like a wild turkey.
And Ricky pointed out an incredible thing because he overheard her say, "I didn't know it was so slippery." There's signs. Like, ride the foul line. It says, "Do not cross this line. It is slippery. It is greasy. You are going to fall."
All right. Well, that's about it.
Anywho, how do we want to end this? I feel like we need to have like a good, solid, like, ending thing. I don't know what it's going to be.
A good, solid ending thing. See, And normally it would be a little bit quicker, but the darkness grabbed me.
Darkness, okay.
The darkness.
We've talked a lot of darkness here.
Darkness just grabbed me.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Well, that makes sense. We are live from the lair of the beast. This has been the Children of the Beast. We're broadcasting out there all to you, the Lil Beasts. Follow us on social media. I'm Andrew_the Hut with 2 T's.
You'll figure it out.
Like Jabba the Hutt. I will. It's my own social media handle. I'll be able to figure it out. Carlos is at Wolfchild1980 on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the show on YouTube. It is Children of the Beast Podcast. We are currently live on Spotify at Children of the Beast Podcast. We'll be up on Apple and Google Play Store in a couple days. It kind of takes a couple days for that process to roll out and get approved from both those platforms. But that is it.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Draw 666 in a church parking lot. Maybe a pentagram.
And interact. If you have a problem with anything we say, hit us up.
Yeah.
You agree? Hit us up. You have an idea about something we should talk about? You know?
I should set up like an email or like
you should do it like a Gmail.
Should we do like an email or like a social media account? I feel like an email is going to be easier because I don't want to have to run another social media account for the show.
Yeah, because you're just getting nothing but dicks.
Oh my God. Well, with that, we'll leave you all. Have a great week. We will talk to you next time. Lil Beasts, we love you.
Tenfold.